Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Laura, aka PURPLEXEDQT. And it's going to be a long one, so that's why I started early. So first, let me say hi to everyone that came in, all my mods, Patreons, subs, members, former members, future members, former subs, new subs, everyone in between. And I hope you guys are doing good tonight. I got a couple of scoops for you. So, okay. First things first, I want to clear up some rumors that the drama community haters seem to be dropping here and there. And they seem to be trying to get people, like new people, to hate me or, oh, I'm so hard. I just want to address it real quickly because there's 3 rumors that keep being spread in every single chat room and every single live. And most of the shit that these people say, I will ignore. But it's gotten to the point where, I'm starting to leave comments that I see because these people leave them. So I just want to straighten them out. I am working on an hour of sleep, and that was this afternoon. So bear with me if I'm not my normal, screaming self. But I'm very tired. But I needed to do this live for multiple reasons. One, something I saw. I wanted to finish last night. And yeah, so I'm just tired. But we got everything done on the car. It's registered. It needed an oil change. It needed a wheel alignment. And the tire was good. It didn't even need a tire. They did a full inspection. They said everything is good. I went to Walmart. I bought her some really cool mats and blinged it up a little. She loves it. She couldn't wait to drive it. So we'll probably see her next year. Kidding. Fueled by coffee and true crime. What's up? All right. So first thing I want to say. So the first couple things I'm going to say are a little drama, but it needs to be said. Rule number one. Not rule number one. Thing number one. Rumor number one is they had rumors going around that, oh my God, I put a dead kid's face on a candle. Okay. So the actual story behind that is, and I can prove it. I don't have everything pulled up, but I can, if you want, ask me and I'll prove it. But we were covering a case, when I say we, it was me and MGL. We're covering a case of Xavier Harrelson. He was a young kid, I think it was 12, who went missing in Iowa and was found dead in a cornfield. I had reached out to Xavier's best friend's mom, and both me and MGL were interviewing her and speaking to her. And, she came on my panel, then she went on Marissa's panel. And her son was one of Xavier's best friends. They lived in the same trailer park together. So MGL had said, hey, why don't you make her a memorial candle for her son. I forgot her son's name. And I said, yeah, that's a good idea. So I put Xavier's face on a candle for his best friend. Well, of course, people freaked out about it, and because that's what they do. And next thing you know, everyone knows me. I'm a total fucking wise ass. And someone was like, did you get anyone's permission to put his face on a candle? I said, I don't need his motherfucking permission. I don't need anybody's permission to put his face on a candle. That is what happened. I absolutely put Xavier's face on a candle for his best friend. Nothing was ever sold. Nothing. She didn't even buy the candle. I made it for free and sent it to her for free. So that's the story of putting a dead kid's face on a candle. I most certainly did, just like I make memorial candles and put them on the face of, they send me pictures and I put their face on a memorial candle. Yes, it's called a memorial candle for a reason. You memorialize somebody. There was another situation with Summer Wells. That went to shit. Again, no candle was ever sold. That's the whole story behind the putting someone's face on a candle. The second rumor going around is the rape thing that happened in 2019. Okay, the story behind that. Bunch of my Patreons were in a small Facebook group. there was a girl that left our group, and we were catty girls, and we were being mad, and we were being assholes. There were like 7 of us. All 7 of us were involved in this conversation. Because it was my Patreon, I decided, you know what? I will take the blame for everybody. I will, whatever. If you read the text, you can tell I'm not even the one that said it. I'm not even the one that said any of it. I'm in the text and it's my Patreon, but I'm a big girl. I pulled my panties up. I'll take the blame. You want to yell at someone, yell at me. But then it got overkill. But all these other people, nobody ever remembers that I'm not even the one that said it. It was always them. But they keep bringing it up over and over and over. And yeah, that was 2019. They're still talking about it today, but only about me. They're not talking about anybody else. So that was the second rumor I wanted to clear up. And to be honest with you, I forgot the third one. There's another one going around, but I forgot. I'll remember it another time. Queenie, what's the other rumor going around? You'll know. Oh my God, what was the other one? It is always the same, over and over and over. Channels are not going anywhere. They have no content. They're all pathetic. I totally agree with you. But there was one other rumor. Yeah, Marty, you were there. Patreon 2019. Someone just made a video about it. And, of course, nobody else is named but me. Sit the fuck down. For real. I just explained. Oh, the funeral. Thank you. Thank you. White Lotus, you're an angel. Thank you. The funeral thing. Oh my God, Laura went to a funeral. It was an open memorial. It was the Mason Sisk trial that I actually spoke about yesterday and I've been talking about. It was a case I was covering that's 15 minutes from my house. And it was an open memorial. Open memorial means anyone can go. They said you can't have cameras. Well, the rebel that I am brought in a camera, my phone, to show my audience what was going on inside. That's it. That's all I did. There was no interviews going on. I sat very inconspicuously and just kind of had my camera so everyone could get the feel of what it was like to sit in a room with 5 caskets, and 4 of them were baby caskets. 3 of them were baby caskets. And people wanted to see what was going on inside. So I'm a rebel. I don't follow the rules. And I showed my camera. That's it. That's the only fucking things I've ever done. And that is on video on my other channel, which I lost monetization, so I stopped going on it. But all those videos are on that channel. All the candle stuff is on that channel. I could gladly open it up. Those are the 3 truths that people just can't seem to let go of, and then they lie. I've seen more lies about me than I've seen recently than I've seen in a long time. So what I have to say to them is sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and if you have something to say to me, at least, or you want to tell somebody something, at least fucking say the truth. Because none of you assholes have a fucking story straight. You just want to run your mouth under your fake ass accounts that we know where it's coming from because nobody else is from the drama community of 2019. So sit the fuck down. Move on. I'm not that important. And to the ones that are now popping up all over the place, really sit the fuck down because nobody gives a fuck about you. So there's that. Just wanted to put that out there. Because I know these things are being dropped all over the place. Carry on. All right. So now that I got that out of the way. Hey, Panda Berry. Yeah, a lot of my OGs in here know what I'm talking about. Know the people I'm talking about. It's just fucking ridiculous. And are they, Brian? Man, I'm just tired of it. And then you got people that leave Patreon. And now all of a sudden I'm the worst person in the world. Like, sit the fuck down. So, yeah, there's that. I doing well tonight, son. No, it's just I see comments being left in places, and I'm just like, whatever, just whatever. Okay, so let's move on from that. I just want to get that out of the way. I believe me, Kurt, I've done that. I've tried that. It still doesn't work. Like I still see it everywhere. But fueled by coffee and true crime, when I saw a video that you were on and you were on camera, you're like the granny that you come over and you always have cookies and milk. I did not picture you to look like that. Not that you're not beautiful, and I don't mean it like that, but your voice doesn't match your look. And I'm like, oh my God, she's like the grandma that gives like cookies and milk when you go over and won't let you leave unless you eat. Like, I just didn't expect it. It was pretty funny. Okay. So one thing I want to say, I have, and a lot of my OGs know this, I'm trying to get them to come on to explain it in detail about the fingerprints. About 10 days ago, I had emailed a friend of mine, YouTube acquaintance of mine, who's been on my show a couple of times. He's a fingerprint expert. Worked on the Darlie Rotier case. Really, really good guy. So I emailed him, and I'll show you what I sent him. Hey, Monkey's mama, how's my little boo-boo? Oh. All right, he said, tonight I'm flying to Washington to teach at the Secret Service, and then tomorrow after class, they're taking me out. You could try Eric. Eric's not as fun as you. All right, so this is what I had asked him. Whoops. All right. I said, how long can fingerprints be recovered in water? I said, I keep reading different things on Google, so I figured I'd ask you. Car in water with body and personal items from August 8th to the 21st. When a car was flipped right side up, items fell out. Bystander found them and picked them up. How long can fingerprints be recovered from car or personal items? He said, well, the answer is no one can really say. It all depends on what the latent prints are made of. If they're mostly in sweat, i.e. water, they can evaporate or wash away quickly. If in thick oil or grease, they can be developed years later or even after being in water for weeks. So it really truly depends. Being submerged in water is generally harmful to latent prints and most forensic evidence, but not always. That's why we usually give it a shot. Sometimes we are surprised. There was a print developed on a body once, weeks later, after the body had been in a lake. It all comes down to what was on your hands when you leave behind latent prints. Helpful? Question mark. So I said, thanks for the info. And then I said, you busy tonight? I got questions about fingerprinting, cops, and evidence regarding fingerprints. I need an expert, and you are the best one I know. And then you guys heard what he said. So, point being, I was trying to find out if CrookedTV touching it, hey, just a mom, hey, crazy, touching it is going to change anything, if him touching it means anything, if him touching it, I wanted answers like, are there going to be fingerprints on her body? Did the cops make a mistake by not collecting it? But on Crooked's video, you see a cop there who told the grandfather, yeah, you can touch it, no big deal. So that's why I'm thinking, maybe there is, and I asked Glenn this 2 weeks ago, but I'm thinking maybe the cops already knew that there's no way that they're going to be able to get a fingerprint off of it, so it's pointless. So I definitely have questions. I told Glenn to ask Eric to come in if he gets this, if he's not on a flight, to come in here. So mods, if you see Eric, I forgot his last name, but he'll let me know who he is. I can't believe I forgot his last name. But yeah, so I want to know, how important are the fingerprints? Do the fingerprints mean anything? Do they not mean anything? Or why the cops acting the way they are? Are the cops innocent of doing any wrongdoing? You know, so I will get one of them on one of these days, but hopefully Eric will come in tonight and we can ask him. I don't even know if I still have Eric's email. Hold on, let me just check real quick. Yeah, I do actually. All right. I sent him an email with very bad typing and very bad grammar. He's going to look at me and be like, what is this? All right. Okay. I am going to play the check it video. He's probably going to strike me, and I'm going to tell him to kiss my fat butt. Well, used to be fat butt. But I'm not going to ask permission for somebody for a video like that when I'm going to bash the fuck out of him. Because then if he gave me permission, he would pull it back anyway and take back his permission. So that's why I'm not even going to bother. I know, but that was like bad typing. I was just trying to get it all in there. Typing brings back rights, guys. I'm telling you. All right. Let me... There was something else. Oh, wait. So he has the video under lockdown? Oh, I'm giving him credit. Plenty of it. I know, here it is. Okay. Let me just say, first of all, this guy now has almost 17,000 subs. Really? I worked my ass off for my 20,000. And he got almost 17,000 already? Wow. Just wow. So, CrookedTV, you wanna strike me? You go right ahead. I'm okay with it. I don't have any strikes, so it wouldn't even affect me. I'll fight you, I'll win, and we can mosey on our way. All right, hold on.
So I'm here at the place where Kiely Rodni was, where her vehicle was last seen. Here is Kylie's family. Hi. Good. I'm Juan. How are you?
Okay, question number one. Why did he bleep that out I don't understand some of his bleeps. Hey, Zelda, I really don't understand some of his bleeps. Why are you bleeping it out? And why does everybody have a camera? Why is everybody recording everything? I don't understand this. But I really don't. I'm confused by this. I see there's a cop there, as there should be. But why is everyone recording this?
Back at you.
Yeah. So did you get a picture of the phone or the computer?
I didn't want to hand it over, but yes, I do have the laptop.
See, I do have the laptop. What the fuck are you beeping?
But I do have it, and I want to give it to you guys, and you guys decide what you want to do.
Picture of it, because they'll take it immediately.
Yes, I got a picture of it, video of it. You can take pictures right now while he's over there.
Okay, so he bleeped out his name, all right? You are putting stuff on members private. You're trying to strike people. You're saying that it's contract for licensing. You're putting it behind a paywall, and yet you don't want anyone knowing your name? Really? That's another reason I say, CrookedTV, sit the fuck down. There's nothing licensed about a public video. Just saying. Especially about a case that you just got almost 17,000 subs from, and now you're going to act like you're somebody? Trust me when I tell you, if you build your channel on a case, your channel will plop shortly, right after the case is closed. We've seen it with Chris Watts.
So this belongs to you guys. Here.
Like, what is she recording? I don't understand that. Like, I really don't understand that. What is she videotaping? I mean, if anyone can tell me, I would love to know.
That's it. So it's dripping. As you can see, there's still lots of water in there.
Was it in this bag? Or?
No,
No,
it was
it's your
not.
bag.
Yeah, I recorded it while I was pulling it out. So everything is documented for my protection as well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I did send a video of all these items.
What else is there?
So the other stuff that's in here is owl toys.
Oh yes, that looks like her.
And
Why is your fucking hands all over it? This is so weird to me. At least wear gloves. Thank you, Catherine. That's my point. He is all over it. Opening it. Make sure you record it. Like, what the fuck am I missing here? Because something isn't right. That, you just don't do that. That is not right. You claim, and then he says contract for licensing? Bitch, sit down.
I opened it.
Like, what was that beep for?
I don't know what that is.
It's coming.
It's fine. Alright, let's grab the stuff. Hey, David.
Oh, you did collect it.
Yeah.
Now, let me also say, David is extremely smart because this cop is with him the whole time. Now, the rest of this video, I'm going to watch for the first time with you guys. I saw up to this part, like a minute after this part. That's all I saw. But David is smart. Got that cop with him 24/7, walking with him, never leaving his side. I like that. Because he probably told the grandpa it was drugs. Oh, maybe. You might be right.
Okay.
It's yours to give.
May I touch this?
Yep.
Yeah, you can touch it.
Smart move. Ask the cop first if I can touch it. Not check a TV, but the grandfather at least has a brain. Yeah, David's the grandfather.
That's her.
You're right, Allie.
You sure?
Where we go?
Like, even the way he's touching it, he doesn't want to touch it. He doesn't want to grab it. And the cop's like, But the way he's holding it is how it should be held. The way he's holding it is how it should be done. Crooked over there, sitting there, opening it. It's weird.
Yeah, this is her laptop. Duffel bag. You want to have a bag to put it in? I have paper bags. I can go collect them.
So this bag was empty, David. I just want to let you know, but I did put everything I recovered. There's a lot more down there. Okay? The sun is not helping me. Like I told the officer, my only concern was, 2 hours, I didn't touch it. I didn't go in, and then I finally decided I'm gonna go in because nobody was coming, and I wanted to get it. But my concern is,
Like, I'm sorry, and I know I'm cutting it a lot because, I don't want to get hit, but the grandfather just lost his only granddaughter. The grandfather is blown away at everything that's going on. You can see it in his face. He's hurt. He's upset. He's trying to keep it all together. He's, this is the last things of Kiely. Why is this dude talking to him like this? Why is this guy acting like, exactly, pot fried, complete cringe? Why didn't he, go back in the water and get more? I don't know. This is this is way weirder to me than Xanamayx, honestly. Xanamayx, yeah, little things here and there, but this is a whole new level. Exactly, T-Bori. It's chill. It gives me chills. This is weird. This is just weird and not normal.
I hope that you're here when the recovery team comes, so that you let them know how much this means to you in case they find something else.
Why is he talking to him like he's a dumbass? I was going to use a different word, but I stopped myself. Why is he talking to him like that? I don't know, this is just creepy.
Good idea.
If you want to sit down, I'll go grab some paper bags to collect the items. Okay.
And so there's other stuff in there, David, as well. There's
Give me a good
Yeah, I do.
another one, please.
Okay.
Why does she keep recording it?
Check a TV. We try to help families out as much as possible.
There's a bunch of more stuff down there, huh?
Yeah, there is.
What do you think's down there?
I recorded a video. I put my phone down there. I'm surprised it's still working. There's.
Are you insinuating they should buy you a new phone or something? What? Just what? Someone help me. Help me understand this, because I don't understand it at all. I really, truly don't. You put your phone down there, so why didn't you just get the rest of the stuff? If there's so much more down there, you got this far, why not get the rest of it?
A bunch of cards. There's a package.
Why are you beeping that out?
That I pulled out. There's a hairbrush as well. Handfuls of glass, broken glass everywhere. I tried bringing some of it, as much as I could, out. scouted that whole area.
As a matter of fact, yeah, he did sit the fuck down. So, yeah, stop trying to be me. Stop trying to copy my name. Have a good night. I didn't see that. What? Okay. Loser.
My viewer said, you know, you might as well just check that area because did you find any broken glass? And I did, but my intent, if you watch my YouTube channel on CrookedTV.
Why would you give them your YouTube channel? Do you think they're going to watch it? Or do you want them to become members? Most of your stuff is hidden, isn't it? So they have to become members in order to, like, what am I watching? Like, literally, what the fuck are we watching? This is crazy. Crazy. You know what it reminds me of? A male MGL. That's what it reminds me of. A male MGL would do that. Hey, just watch my channel. Just watch my channel. It was a cringe plug. Good way to put that.
One thing I've been doing is I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I would want everybody to be out looking for them.
Well, what I've been doing is I've been using your daughter's death to get almost 17,000 subscribers and only putting it on members only. So people have to pay me to watch all of it because I believe that I am Adventures of Purpose, because that's what Adventures of Purpose did. But they released it 3 days later. This guy doesn't. He's going to sue me? Yeah, bring it on. Ryan's my lawyer.
Waking up, and I've been thinking about this. I've been looking for Kiely.
Can you show me where it came out down here?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I decided to come out here because I figured.
Where are you from?
I live here in Truckee.
Does he really live in Truckee? Does anyone know? Does anyone know if he does live in Truckee?
My pleasure. Afterwards, I'll give you my address. I'll let you know exactly where I live.
Thank you, Kara. If I'm not mistaken, I heard him say we do stuff like this to help our family. Who's he speaking on behalf of? Isn't he by himself? Yeah, as far as I know, he's a single creator. It's a good point. Good catch, too.
But what I did is I started paddleboarding right where they pulled the car out. What I did is I measured 70 feet, 65, 70 feet. I have a tape measure.
Okay, not for nothing, but 55 and 70 feet is a big difference. It really is. 55 and 70, that's kind of a big deal. That's like the whole length of a car. Which kind of, like, now that I think about it, that kind of seems odd. Why would you say 5570 when AWP gave the exact place as how far it was out? So why would you go 70 feet and then say 55? I don't know. Just weird.
And I went all the way out and kind of just came back, kind of scouted the area, kept scouting the area, and within about...
Once again, how did law enforcement miss it again?
I don't know. I documented it. So just to let you know, I did go out my 65, 70 feet minus whatever this length is. And I found it about halfway, a little bit less than halfway. So it's about, I'll throw a stone so you could see where
a loner. Now I know why you're a loner. You can add loser to that name too. Because you are.
Where I found it. Here's where all the items are. Maybe 8 feet more.
Who's going to retrieve the rest? Are these guys going to do it?
Nobody wanted to come out. I called Placer County, redundant loops. I got frustrated after 20 minutes. I ended up calling Truckee PD. They said, I'm sorry, all our detectives are in training. this is not our case.
They told me to call back tomorrow.
So then,
Detective did call.
Oh, he did call back?
Yeah, I just didn't tell you that.
so then after that, I decided, all right, you know what?
Tanya, that I'm not sure of. I was actually hoping that they said that by the end of the video. I don't know if that bag was his or if the bag was hers or the bag was in the car. That I don't know.
I'm gonna go down there. Nobody cares. That's my feeling. I'm sure they care, David. But my feeling was, I'm very passionate about trying to. I'm very passionate. I need to find answers.
Did you see your cell phone down there?
There's a lot of things down there.
So they flipped the car upside down, lost all the evidence, and then drug it out.
Or what I think could have happened is I think that maybe when the car went in, it flipped, the contents came out, and they were careful not to disturb anything when pulling it out.
Well, gee, wonder where you got that from. You must be a genius now, dude. That was a genius comment. None of us knew that. None of us knew that that's what happened. Thank you. Give me a fucking break.
And when they pulled it out, they were diligent, not losing any contents. But I think what happened is the initial turn of the car dumped all that stuff. Because everything is within a 6 foot to 8 foot radius down there. There's a lot of stuff there, but come over here. Here's Kiely's hairbrush.
Okay, please explain to me, somebody, why her hairbrush and that box would be further away. If someone can fill me in on that, I am all ears. But why would her hairbrush be in the sand? I guess it's sand, dirt, sand, whatever. Be in the sand somewhere far away and not in the bag. If you have everything, why not put everything in the bag? That makes no sense to me. Why was it just laying on the ground? And then he said, oh, come here, let me show you. And there's a box and a bag. I mean, a box and a brush. Make that make sense for me.
Like I said, I was getting, that's her hairbrush. I was getting handfuls of glass everywhere.
Why would you leave that right there? Supposedly drove twice, but why would you leave that right there? What if a big wave came? I mean, granted, there's not a lot of waves, but you know what I mean. Why would you just leave that there? Why not put it with the rest of the stuff? So he was hiding the laptop from law enforcement because he wanted the grandpa to pat him on the back and replace his phone. I think it was a replacement of phone, too. I really got that feeling. Maybe he got stuff in the car first. Yeah, but this stuff was just laying there. Why would you leave that brush laying there? That's strange. The fine art, I'm right there with you. Is he placing evidence or finding evidence? I am right there with you.
There's this package here. It's addressed. I took pictures of it. I can share them and send them to you.
That'd be great.
With as best as I could, but while you're holding it, let me just take care of, or look at the address one more time. That way I can have some of my people Photoshop it. Or not Photoshop it, but really
You can
get all the details. So,
okay, here's a dumb question. Why would he need the address that's on the box? I find that very odd. Why would he need to see that address again? Now, I can see the grandfather asking to see the address again, but why would he need to see the address again? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would he keep pictures of it? Oh, the package was Jagger's. Why would he need the address? Why? it's weird. Oh, let me see the address again. For what? Do you know these people? Do you have anything to do with that? Like, why would you need to see the address?
Will you go and go down there again?
Yeah, I heard that, Brian.
I'd be more than happy to. I just need a flashlight.
Well, I mean, you don't want to go now, do you?
It's up to you guys. I can go whenever you guys want me to.
I don't have it.
Wait, what did he say he needed? I missed that.
But I put my phone underwater. You guys, I can go whenever you guys want me to.
I don't have a flashlight.
But I put my phone underwater.
Oh, now he needs a flashlight. Gotcha. Because somebody with all of this information, somebody with all of this stuff, all of this equipment, goes out searching for people, goes out looking for people, and yet he doesn't have a fucking flashlight? Yeah, okay. How do you not have a flashlight in your car? When you're scuba diving, you have all this other stuff. Come on, really?
Underwater. I shouldn't have gone underwater, but there's a lot more stuff down there.
And then the video ends. Okay. Now, Brian, you say that you have a lot of stuff down there. I mean, that you have a lot of stuff, but you don't have a flashlight. But did you find evidence that belonged to a missing / deceased person? Because I would think the second time you came back, you would bring a flashlight. Just saying. I mean, to me, that's kind of common sense 101. Yeah, then he cut it. Believe me, he made enough money. Oh, yeah, I got that. He made enough money on this case, he could buy himself a new phone. I don't even know why he said it like 3 times about the phone. I found that creepy. And yeah, so if you want to strike me, be my guest. He put his phone in water and he shouldn't have put his phone in water. Yeah, like you don't know that you can't keep your phone in water for a certain amount of time? It's just weird. I agree. He does seem mentally unstable. Do you hear him feeling bad and needing redemption? Honestly, guys, I don't know. I thought it was odd that he found everything to begin with. I really did. Something didn't sit right with me with that either. That he had taken the time. He went live with his 500 subs saying, I'm trying to call the police, and we did verify he did call the police, but now it's just a money thing. He didn't go out there to find Kiely. That's obvious. Or find anything. If he did, then why didn't you go out originally? Why'd you wait until she was found and all the smoke cleared, and then all of a sudden, now you're going to go out? No, sorry. Not buying it. Nope. I don't like the guy. I don't trust the guy. Am I saying that he's involved? No. But I do find him highly suspicious. I find it highly suspicious that he claims to know true crime in any capacity and had putting his fingerprints all over. That's why I asked Glenn about the fingerprints. And, does it matter? If his fingerprints are all over it, what does that mean? Can they see fingerprints new or old? Like, I have questions. So I'm hoping that Eric wrote me back when I check now. Hold on. There's something very odd about him. And it very well could be all about the money. And that's fine. but just kind of like be honest about it. All right. Yes. Right now. Here is Zoom link. Hold on. All right, Eric said he can do it. And I got questions. All right. So we're about to have a forensic expert, a fingerprint forensic guy, expert, to give us some answers. It's probably an accident. Now creators are attacking each other. Nah, not really. He's not really a creator. I mean, hasn't been around a long time. He's here just for that. That's all. He was here just for evidence. Clout. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. That's not a creator. Ellie has botched this case, but I can totally understand why. I'm so tired, but I can totally understand why the grandfather is so mad and why the grandfather is so upset. Like, you know, Ellie missed this too. I really can. I mean, I get their frustration. Maybe it's drugs or something that nah, I don't think so. Night Kurt, I don't think so. I run a video so my chat isn't live. He's getting all this equipment from his members, but hasn't said one word about any next case. What equipment? Equipment for what? Tell them they need to buy him a flashlight. Hey, hopefully it takes the focus off Xanamayx. Telling I don't believe Xanamayx did anything. Whoops. Sorry, Fluffer. I just hit the dog with my drink. I don't believe Xanamayx had anything to do with it. I think it's just another cloud chaser, but a different type of cloud chaser. Exactly, Brian. I agree with that. Oh. I have no thoughts on Xanamay's arrow. I really don't. I think nothing of it. He's a respiratory therapist? Then why would he need so much clout on YouTube? A Nell Prober, you really are an idiot. Just saying. But since the DC cannot stay the fuck away, they're gonna have to pay me in order to comment. So, hold on. I gotta edit this. Hang on a second. Bear with me. All right. So now they're going to pay me to talk to me. They want to run their stupid ass mouth. And now they're going to have to pay me to do so. So there you go. So while I'm waiting for Eric. Okay, while I'm waiting for Eric, I also want to address something that I heard on another channel, and I just want to make sure that I'm correct and that I'm not wrong on this. But I remember a long time ago, when I say a long time ago, I mean the case. I distinctly remember Jagger. Hold on. Okay. Somebody was saying that they found it weird that the son had cleared Jagger. But I'm pretty positive that we knew about his alibi 2 months ago. That it's not anything new. It's not DC's drama community. That it's not anything new. It's not anything. He was cleared a long time ago. So when the police when a reporter contacts the police department, they didn't give him any new information. They gave them the same information that they already had. Am I wrong, or did I dream this? Did I dream that Jagger was cleared with an alibi a long time ago? Thank you, because I remember pretty clearly that Jagger was cleared in the beginning. He had an alibi. It was with his dad or something, but he had a solid alibi. He was cleared, I think, before she was even found. So this other creator Ellie verified it, but they verified it last time, didn't they? Thank you. It's all optics. That's what I thought. That is what I thought, is that it was one of the press conferences that Jagger was cleared. It is old news. I agree. So when I saw it on this other channel, I'm like, I'm so confused, because did I dream it? Did I think of something that wasn't there? Because I remember it being cleared 4 or 5 days in, exactly. So when this other creator was saying that she didn't understand, admit. And that's why I got confused. Hey. Your audio is not connected. There you go. I don't see you, though. I see a picture. I'm waiting for him to, like, pop out. Oh, Eric.
Sorry, can you hear me okay?
You're right. Yeah, I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I got a new computer set up here a few months ago and never bothered to have a camera hooked up to it. So
all right.
I'm just audio for tonight, but
okay.
And then had to get my headphones working. Anyway, good evening. Haven't talked to you for a little while. How's things been going?
Oh, good. How are you?
Doing well.
All right. So I'll let you introduce yourself, because you could do a better job than me. But I have lots of questions about fingerprints. And so I reached out to Glenn, and then he said he was going to DC to reach you. I said, yes. So thank you so much for coming on, because we got questions. But I'll let Eric introduce himself.
Sure. I'm really curious what the topic is beyond just fingerprints for tonight. But yeah, my name's Eric Ray. I'm a certified latent print examiner. And so I started in this field in 2007 and was involved working for a state crime lab, doing fingerprint processing, usually in a lab setting, not actually at the crime scene, and then comparing fingerprints, searching them through APHIS, writing reports, testifying in court, all the stuff that goes along with that. And so now I work for a technology company that develops fingerprint software and hardware, and on the side, still do some private casework on nights and weekends and stuff.
All right, awesome. Oh, he is official. He's very official. All right.
So if just real quick, if anyone's interested in hearing, you'd mentioned Glenn, Dr. Glenn Langenberg. He and I co-host the Double Loop podcast, which is a
true crime.
We go really in depth into talking about fingerprints. We occasionally go into true crime topics, but more so from the perspective of what is the evidence saying in different cases. Not really going into the courtroom stuff as much, but more of just the physical evidence. And then again, most of the time we're talking about topics that are hot button issues or new research or court cases dealing specifically with latent fingerprint comparisons. So if you want to hear people talk a whole lot of in-depth stuff that might go over the heads of most non-experts, that's where we talk about it.
It's a good podcast, though. It is. They have some really good stuff. Okay, so let me give you a quick rundown on the case and what we're discussing. Have you heard of? Do you follow any true crime recently?
I heard about the serial guy. What's his name? Getting released. That's kind of the big news I heard recently. But I don't typically go out searching for it. I just kind of come across little interesting tidbits when they hit the news.
Kiely Rodni, you heard of her?
Kiely Rodni, no.
Okay, she's a 16-year-old girl from Truckee, California. She was at a party. She had disappeared. They said that she was missing, and you know who Adventures of Purpose is?
Say again?
Adventures with Purpose. They're a dive team on YouTube.
Oh, no.
Okay. So they usually cover cold cases. They are a dive team that has, they know how to read sonar. They've been doing it a couple of years. They've brought home like 23 families that were found in the water. They have a little routine that works, and they're really good. So all of their subscribers had contacted Truckee Police Department in Placer, California or Nevada, to bring Adventures of Purpose out there because there's so many lakes and waters. If maybe they could find her. The police
and Kiely Rodni has just gone missing.
She had gone missing at this point.
Okay.
So 20 minutes into their search, after law enforcement claims they searched for 2 weeks, 15,000 man hours, blah, 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 Adventures of Purpose sees her car 14 feet under within 20 minutes. They not only find the car, but she was inside.
Okay.
And all of her belongings were in it. So they report it. There's nothing back yet, but the car was upside down. When the car was flipped over, a lot of items fell out. And when I say a lot of items, I mean a laptop that was in the car that you can visibly see was in the car when, they recorded it. So then you have the items that fell out. Some guy happened to find them. And half of the community believes that it's foul play. The other half thinks it was an accident.
So they found all these items at the bottom of the lake, or
yes, the FBI, the FBI and the police never bothered to go get them because it seems that, and I say allegedly because we don't really know, but allegedly when they turned the car over, those items probably fell out because they never sealed the car. And there was a window that was half open in the back. There was one other window that was either broken out or it was, down. But when they flipped the car over, the other window blew out. The other window broke, I think. So either way, these items allegedly fell out. And when they fell out, some random person who was looking for evidence happened to find them.
Oh, went back diving and
Yes.
pull all this stuff up? Okay.
Correct. He claimed, well, I can't say claim because he did call the police and the police kind of ignored him. And then he decided to gather the evidence and make YouTube channel with it.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
That's
and I'm gonna
cool.
I'm
Okay.
gonna replay the video, that a piece of the video that he posted. He's got other videos, but they're on members only. It's a big cloud chasing thing, but he had, no, it wasn't a call logs, Kiki. We had pulled it up. And his hands are all over the evidence. His hands are all over everything. And if there are other fingerprints, like the ones of us that believe it's foul play, my first question is, can they get evidence from a car that was submerged 14 to 24 feet underwater in a lake from August 6th until August 21st when they found her? Are there any fingerprints that can even be found?
Well, the short answer is it's a long shot. So when a fingerprint or a latent print really is made, or left behind on a surface in an inadvertent manner, there's a lot of factors first that go into whether or not an impression's even left behind. Right? It has to be a surface that's relatively smooth and untextured and clean to receive that print. The fingers have to be, not too, I don't know, like damaged or worn, or someone who's like a bricklayer is going to have fingerprints kind of worn away a bit. And there has to be some sort of medium to transfer from the fingers onto the surface, right? Usually it's a mix of sweat and sebaceous oils, but it could be, paint or food grease or blood. Lots of different things could be the medium that transfers over what's called the matrix. And then after it's on that surface, then there's all the environmental factors that may affect it between that contact and then when it's later developed or captured by someone looking for it. So if it's out in the heat of the desert, it might evaporate away. Or if sand and dirt blow by with the wind, it might eventually kind of rub it off. Or the surface could be wiped down and cleaned by somebody. So going into a lake and having the car flip upside down and parts of it being down there in the silt and dirt, and then I'm assuming looks like a reservoir. That's what the lake looks like.
Prosser Reservoir, yeah.
So there may be some that does tend to have a bunch of silt and dirt at the bottom. So at least I'm not sure about that one in particular, but that's this what I think so. So all of these factors can combine together to they would tend to get rid of any latent prints that were left behind. Now, it may be that a really greasy print, someone just ate like a really greasy burger, left a nice juicy print on there, that oil would stick to the surface, and just the repelling of the water could help keep that fresh. And it's possible to find latent prints after that amount of time and under those conditions, but it would almost have to be like perfect conditions and still quite a bit of a long shot. And then it would actually require someone to go looking for it and use the proper technique to develop that.
And that was my other question. I had read, and I don't know how true it is, but I read that when it comes to something being underwater for that long, they need a special underwater forensic fingerprint person. Is that true?
I mean, it would be helpful if the person was trained on how to use techniques specifically for items collected underwater. A car is kind of tough, right? So if it was like a gun, there's best practices to try to increase your odds of finding prints. Like, you know, when you find it, if like a dive team finds it down there, put it in a can, like a paint can, full of the water, and then seal it up and just leave it like that. And then let the guys back at the lab be the ones that finally take it out of the water. You don't want to take the gun out of the water, put it in an evidence bag, let it dry and start to rust, and then start looking for fingerprints. You want to start looking for fingerprints as soon as it comes out of the water. So that's why, again, keep it in like a can, you know, until you get there. But you can't just put a whole car into a paint can. And then some of the things, if it like a laptop, it would also be really difficult to find a container that big. In general, the situations I've heard where they can find latent prints on stuff coming out of lakes like this is A, really rare, and B, usually on things like guns and knives and not laptops.
Okay. And what about, so when the car flipped over and the window broke, he claims there was a lot of glass on the floor. Do you ever
Floor of the lake?
Of the lake, because allegedly the window broke or something when it was flipped over. But wouldn't the cops need that glass for fingerprints? Because wouldn't that be the best place to get a fingerprint? Or it's too much work for them?
I mean, glass is one of the best surfaces for fingerprints just because of how smooth and solid and uniform it is. But you start getting into problems, right? Being underwater for that length of time, and also being shattered. Typically, it's fairly rare to try to look for fingerprints on shattered glass,
Okay.
because it's then becomes trying to put this puzzle back together, and it kind of depends on how shattered we're talking about, right? If it's like three pieces, okay, yeah, you fit it back together and you can process it. And if the print happens to be, you know, across one of the cracks, it's still relatively easy to fit them back together and take a photograph or a lift. But if we're talking like, you know, 1,000 pieces, then it just becomes not physically possible to get it all back together. So it kind of depends on how shattered are we talking about.
And someone asked, why are laptops different?
It's just the surface. So the surface of that the impression is left upon is usually the determining factor as to what processing technique to use. So a metal, like a nice shiny revolver, you know, kind of a reflective mirror-like surface, almost chrome-like surface.
Okay.
You're going to use different techniques than if it's like the plastic casing of a laptop.
Okay, fair enough. And there's another question I had based on that before I showed
On the glass.
And the glass on the laptop. What does you've worked with a lot of different police departments. What does it take for the cops to, especially in underwater, because I read that underwater cases, underwater homicide like that is the hardest to prove, and 90% of the time it goes tragic accident is what they say. So I'm just wondering, what causes a cop to get that underwater expert and the glass and try to find that fingerprint? Like, what makes the difference of when they would go the extra mile or when they would just rule it a tragic accident and not waste their time?
So, I mean, in general, you know, when evidence is found, because I mean, it seems like the crime didn't take place down there. You know, that's just where the evidence ended up. And the bottom of the lake is just the odds that the evidence has kind of been washed away start to go up and become really high. It's harder to collect the evidence. You're not going to find some trace DNA that you can swab. It's just going to get a whole bunch of lake goo. The fingerprints are most likely going to have washed away. Even just the currents of the lake are going to move things around. While if you're out on the on dry land or in a building, the evidence lands somewhere and it's just going to stay there. So it's first off, it's one of the things that may impact how difficult it is to determine things in this type of from evidence collected from this type of location, is that you're just going to have less evidence and less reliable evidence than normal. Now, there's going to be exceptions, and there may be cases where the evidence comes out of the lake and it's great, it's fantastic, but it's just less likely that that's going to happen. And then determining what cops decide to, or detectives decide to investigate, and how they direct their investigation and the choices they make along that path, that's getting a little outside of my area of expertise. I worked in the crime lab, right? So it was a nice air-conditioned building with all the lights on, and they'd bring me the evidence, and I'd look for fingerprints and try to say who left the fingerprint on this thing, and then they would take that back and do however that fit into the investigation. That then got passed back on to the detectives. So my little part really didn't include figuring out why you would investigate one thing over another. Sure thing. I just pulled up the YouTube, so let me see if I can get up to. I don't want to have YouTube and you coming in my ear at the same time, so let me. I'm not sure. Is that kind of above your head?
Yes.
Is that what I'm looking at?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what they found underwater.
Okay. What?
Confirm. I see the vehicle and the license plate. We have just found Kiely's vehicle. Over.
10-4. Do a full assessment, methodically, slowly. Make sure you focus on footage of the vehicle so that we can accurately relay that to the authorities.
The vehicle is upside down. I repeat, it is upside down. I'm at the rear of the vehicle now, working my way around towards the driver's side.
I'm noticing that the
10-4.
It's so hard to see down there.
Yeah,
I mean, you can be just 10 feet away from the vehicle and not even see it. That's probably why it took the police so long to find it, is they may have been right there and still not seen it. And it took this dive team to be just in the exact right spot in order to find the car.
Police are debatable, believe that. But I'll explain all that after.
I read you loud and clear.
I'm approaching the driver's side window, trying to get a look inside.
Okay, now, even as a diver, granted he would have gloves on, but with all that, stuffer on it, could there even get a fingerprint off of that?
Again, it's not impossible. It's really unlikely, though.
Okay.
That's some nasty ass water.
Yeah.
There's plants rubbing up against it. I could easily see it going both ways. So, in general, when evidence is collected, the detectives then make a determination of what they're going to ask for. Right? Are they going to ask for the gun to be swabbed for DNA? Printed, looking for latent prints, or both, or kind of split it. Look for latents here and DNA here, or of all the 100 things they may pull out of someone's house, or what are the ones that we're actually going to ask to be processed?
Okay.
There's decisions made along the way. We've got limited resources here in the lab. There's lots of crimes to investigate. Where do we start and how far do we go? And that's really every part of the investigation, right? Even knocking on doors. You knock next door, and then 2 houses down, 3 houses down, next block over. How many doors do you knock on before you stop knocking on doors? There's decisions made that whole point in time, because you can't do everything. There does have to be a decision made of saying, okay, it's unlikely we're going to find anything more at this point, or from this evidence, or from this location, so we're going to have to stop. And this may be a situation where they took a look at the vehicle after it came out of the lake, and made certain decisions about what they were going to collect based on the information that they had at the time.
Okay.
And the likelihood of actually finding anything useful out of whatever step they were going to go through with.
Okay. Which will lead me to my next question. Hold on.
Okay.
And you can see all the dirt on the windows and all the debris on the windows. Could you see a fingerprint just like that because of all the dirt, or no?
No, not really in this situation.
Okay.
If the car was out on dry land and dry, sometimes you can see latent prints if you shine a flashlight, back through the window, or you get the catch light just right.
Okay.
But typically they're called latent prints because they're hidden, and there's some sort of development process has to take place to make them visible.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Matt said, I did print photos for the police for a while. They told me don't use armor guard on my dash, steering wheel, and doors. Any idea why?
Print photos, please tell me not to use armor guard on my dash. No. If you're ever the victim of a crime and the police, come in and they want to, fingerprint your car or your house or whatever, that typically involves, like you see on TV, a brush and powder. Consider carefully before saying yes. They may be able to find some evidence to help solve whatever happened to you, but it's also like opening up a toner cartridge for your printer and just kind of tossing it around the inside of your car. You may never be able to clean it all up. It's kind of makes a mess.
I got you.
I don't know how armor guard would affect that. It may make things kind of sticky or tacky or textured, which would then make it harder to have a good fingerprint left behind. But I don't know for sure. I've never heard that.
All right.
Yeah, oh Jesus comment, I like that. These, I'm not sure what help it might be. If it was a homicide and she was killed by a stranger, then the evidence on the digital evidence on the laptop and phone may not help at all. But that's definitely a place to go. You do that first. You do the digital evidence collection before you send it off to fingerprints or DNA or any other technique, because the things we do to the phones are probably going to not be good for any data on those electronic devices.
All right. Okay. Now you see how that window's half open? Yeah, this window, the one in front, that's half open.
Okay.
Theory is, and there's no proof of this, but theory is that somebody who put her in the ocean, or not ocean, put her in the lake, rolled down the window and got out that window before the car sank. Would those fingerprints be there? Or those kind of prints be in the car or no?
Again, I unlikely. It'd be something that could theoretically be checked, but it's unlikely that any fingerprints are going to remain on that window, or even if you do find fingerprints on the window, it's even more unlikely that they'll be in a state where they'd be considered comparable, right? So they might be smudged or partially rubbed off, or really blurry, where you can't pick out the actual details to do a comparison. And it would also be really difficult, if not impossible, to determine when the prints were left behind. And now, when you say crawl out the window, do you mean crawl out the window like after the car was underwater?
No, so that's how it was found. So we know that she didn't roll down the window, the back window, before, because the windows were open. So according to Adventures of Purpose and dive experts, that when your windows are open, water is going to come flooding in immediately. And you're not going to get the same 30 to 60 seconds that you would normally get if you don't have the windows open, if your windows are closed.
Right.
So we believe that the window was half open when it went down, and then water came rushing in. So theory is, as soon as the water may have hit the lake, the person that did this, and again, I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's just a theory, that whoever did this swam through that window, got out that window. So
if they did swim out the window, then I think it's almost impossible to leave any latent prints behind. It's because you're kind of interrupting that transfer of the sweat and oil from your finger onto the surface, because now your hand's covered in water. So that's going to, and again, it's not physically impossible. It's just going to be an exceptionally rare circumstance to have everything line up perfectly to have that still be able to be left behind. But I wouldn't expect most of the time, if your hands are wet and you touch a surface like this, to leave a comparison quality latent print behind.
So if you want to commit a good murder, do it underwater?
Or, I mean, there is one simple solution to completely defeating everything I do with fingerprints. Just put on gloves.
Exactly.
Then I can't do anything.
Exactly. And Ellie said, if LE believe it's likely an accident, is it safe to assume they're not as worried about preserving, collecting evidence from the car?
In general, I would say yes. That's correct, and that may be why you might have seen an officer touch a surface like the steering wheel as it was coming out. Now, it depends on the surface, right? So, like a steering wheel is a surface built to be handled, right? And gripped, so it has texture all over it, which then makes it terrible for collecting fingerprints off of. Never found a good fingerprint on a steering wheel. And it's like why the grip of a gun is terrible for fingerprints, because it's all textured. It's made to be held and not be all smooth and shiny and slippery. But the good thing is that those types of surfaces are fantastic for DNA, because the skin cells that slough off your hands, get caught in those little nooks and crevices of the steering wheel or the gun grip. But you take the steering wheel and you put it underwater for a number of weeks, and you're done. There's no more DNA left, because the whole lake is just swimming with random bits of DNA, and from all the goop that's down there, and any DNA from someone touching the steering wheel. Again, that's not even like bleeding onto the steering wheel, right? It's just a contact transfer of skin cells DNA. That's just all going to be washed away, or unreadable amongst all the noise of all the other stuff that's floating around.
And that was my next question. And this is going to sound pretty dumb, but all right. So we know mirrors hold it, glass holds it. If the cops have the car, which they do, check the door handles, the rear view mirror, will they just give up from there, knowing that if they can't get it off there, they're not getting it off anywhere?
I mean, typically it comes down to that question again of where specifically do you look, right? Are you going to check the oil filter? Probably not, because whoever theoretically may have committed this crime or been involved in this situation isn't going to have changed the oil, unless you find some bit of information that this is the person that just changed the oil in the car.
Yeah.
So you focus in your investigation and your resources, on the areas that are most likely to be probative, relevant to the investigation and provide something that can then, lead somewhere. So that's going to be where are you going to touch, right? The door handles, the
rear view
kind of
mirror.
the frame of the door where you would push to shut the door, the rear view mirror, like the right hand side of the rear view mirror is an excellent place to find someone's right thumb, because think about it. You reach up with your right hand, your right thumb touches the right hand side of the mirror right on the glass, and that's what you see there a lot of the time.
Okay.
But then again, if you're just pushing a car into a lake, you're not really worried about adjusting the mirror.
How many people do you think know? Would a tow truck driver know that fingerprints will most likely get wiped away in the water? Is it like a common knowledge in certain places, or it's really just forensic people know that?
I mean, I think it's a logical assumption. I'm not sure you need to study anything or do any research or reading or have any training to know that. I think it's just a safe assumption that if you throw it into the lake, it's probably gonna get rid of more evidence than if it was sitting up on land. But I don't know. I don't have any data to be able to state specifically what that knowledge is like in the general public.
Okay. And my second really dumb question. So we know about touch DNA, we know contact DNA. If 4 other people were in the same spot as her, they were bled, they cut their toe on something, someone was murdered and there's a body down there, would their DNA from the water, could that end up on the car too? In a car that's underwater?
Just if someone in a different part of the lake?
Even in right here, if it just so happened people were swimming right here and someone, because she was only 55 feet out, she was really close to shore. So it's definitely where people would be swimming, kayaking. So if somebody cut their toe and their DNA was there, or somebody died, in the lake and their DNA was there, or something, would that...
I really wouldn't expect that.
No.
It's just going to be diluted too much.
Okay.
The blood would just, as soon as the drop of blood in the water starts to dissipate to the point where you can't see the distinctive drop anymore, then it's not enough to detect.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Cannot positively identify anybody inside yet. I'm looking in the back now.
All right. So you can see certain
10-4.
items in the car.
Take your time. Be safe.
We can see some rolling thing. We can see a laptop charger.
I see a pair of
Give me a second here to catch up. The video's lagging a few seconds behind. Okay, now I can see the window
I heard you
down.
loud and clear.
I see some fish.
I just confirm there are human remains in the vehicle. Over.
10-4.
Okay, so that's where you can see a lot of stuff. You see the laptop charger, a sweatshirt, a Truly can. So assume, and I'm just saying assume, yeah, the brush. Assume they flip the car over and the window breaks and all this stuff falls out. And they never go back and get it. And test it for fingerprints or anything. Is that because they know it's pointless or shady police work?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to say, why they made that choice. I think there's another possibility that they may not have seen, everything that fell out, or been aware of what fell out, or the person making that final, even if somebody did see it, the person kind of making the call as to what to do next, may not have been aware of it. But it could have been a mix of all those things. But in the end, I don't really have any way to know why they made the decision that they did.
Okay. And being everything that you just said about water, are those fingerprints on there even mean anything, or there wouldn't really be anything worth anything to begin with?
I mean, if on the really outside chance there was something comparable on there, then it becomes, okay, let's say we do find something comparable onto the laptop.
Okay.
And then it's, all right, who does this belong to? Does it belong to Kiely? All right, well, it's her laptop. So, it doesn't help. Or if it belongs to somebody else, maybe search it through APHIS, find a match. And then it's, well, did they have a legitimate reason, to have touched her laptop at some point in the past? Because latent prints can hang out on surfaces for a fairly long time if there's no environmental factor to remove them and take them off of there, or not sufficient environmental factors to take them off. So, someone kind of moved her laptop 6 months ago. A fingerprint might still be on here, might be collected here, and it doesn't mean anything to this investigation. Okay. Then again, it may be somebody that she's never met before, would have no reason to have ever, touched her laptop. And then that leads to questions. Where was this person on this specific time? What other evidence can be collected together to really paint the picture of what's going on here? Can
you pull DNA from a fingerprint?
Yes, but I don't think they would be able to be successful from the fingerprint after being in a lake like this for so long. Okay. It's called signal to noise ratio, right? So you need enough DNA of the person who left the fingerprint behind, without a whole lot of noise or other unrelated DNA,
in order to see anything in the test that they do. And being in the lake here, I would have to assume that the latent print is just
saturated with all sorts of goopy DNA from whatever's living in the water.
Okay. And her body itself, her body was in the back. They don't show it, obviously. Can they get fingerprints off a body from after 2 weeks in the water, or body's going to work the same way as surface?
No, a body is challenging already to get fingerprints off of under ideal circumstances with
you know, still being on dry land and being found relatively recently. But the body isn't, you know, a nice, smooth, shiny surface. It's got texture and hair and all sorts of things that would interfere with the print being left behind. Now, it is possible to find latent prints on a body. You have to go through some pretty specific techniques to find them. And again, it's one of those things that's not impossible, but I really wouldn't blame them for not even attempting it, just with the odds of success being just microscopic.
What about an aluminum can? Because the Truly can, I believe the police have. Would they have taken that for fingerprints, or because that's aluminum?
That's going to be a good surface. Aluminum cans are really, really good for latent prints.
Okay.
It may be one of those things where the people collecting the evidence aren't aware that the best practice is to keep the evidence in the water that it was found in, so that the latent print folks can have the best chance of success when they start with their techniques.
All right.
So it may be one of those things where they collect it, it gets to the lab, and the lab goes, all right, well, we'll try, but our odds are already diminished in a not ideal situation to try to find anything.
Okay. So those are the questions I had on this video. Now I'm going to show you what happened to the evidence that fell out of the car.
Okay.
And you tell me if this is not the craziest thing you've ever seen. Hold on.
I'm going to recommend no one go pick up evidence from a crime scene if the police left it behind.
Exactly.
It's not a good life choice.
What's his name again? Why did I just forget his channel? I'll just go to history. All right. All right, guys, we're going to watch this video again. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I saw a question about DNA on clothing. Again, just bad situation, being underwater, being soaked in with so much other DNA. I think the best chance, again, still a long shot for DNA, would be if they found a significant amount of blood still on like clothing, that they could then, try to isolate just the blood from that. Still probably low chance of success, but it's you have now more sample to work with. And that would, assume that just being underwater didn't dissolve it all away.
Okay. So the importance of this is, besides the fact the guy's a moron, but this is evidence that he collected, that he found underwater, that he dove to get, called the police, there is record of it, but called the police ignored him, they didn't care. Then I guess a lot of people called the police, and they, I guess, finally went and got it. But he called Kiely's family and told them that he had this evidence. He had a bag, he had the laptop, he had a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to watch the only video that's not on behind a paywall. And yeah.
Where her vehicle was last seen. Here is
Kiely's family. Hi. Good. I'm Juan. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Back at you.
Yeah. So did you get a picture of the phone or the computer?
I didn't want to hand it over, but yes, I do have the laptop.
Okay.
But I do have it, and I want to give it to you guys, and you guys decide what you want to do.
Take a picture of it, because I'll take it immediately.
Yes, I got a picture of it, a video of it. You can take pictures right now while he's over there. So this belongs to you guys.
And the sheriff's there?
Now, let me also add, that bag was also in the car. And he's not even wearing gloves. But it gets better.
So it's dripping. As you can see, there's still lots of water in there.
Was it in this bag? Or?
No, it was not. Yeah, I recorded it while I was pulling it out. So everything is documented for my protection as well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I did send a video of all these items.
What else is there?
So the other stuff that's in here is owl toys.
Oh yes, that looks like her.
And I opened it.
Now, Eric, tell me why somebody who finds this evidence would have their prints all over it.
Oh, I mean, you mean like would put their prints all over it like this? Well, just they're not smart. So that's the it's difficult to tell. I don't think it's even possible to tell the difference between somebody deliberately trying to put their prints all over stuff and someone just not being aware of what they're touching. It's. I mean, I swear, if you guys were just to spend tomorrow, the whole day, being just conscious all day long of what you're touching with your entire, all your fingers, your entire palm, right? What surfaces are you touching? It is a lot, right? You touch things constantly, and you're leaving your latent prints behind, or potentially leaving them behind every time there's that content. And we're usually not dedicating that amount of brain power to being aware of what we're touching. That's not usually something that a normal person would think about. So it's completely possible that this guy just wasn't thinking about all that and went through all that. Now, even people that are trained, right, like police officers, trained, put on gloves, don't touch things. When I worked at the crime lab as my full-time job, I'd work dozens of cases every month, and it was extremely common to identify a latent print from an item of evidence to this to the same police officer that submitted that item of evidence. So they even if they did their own processing with the powder, right? So they went up to something, touched it, then took out the powder and brushed it, found their own fingerprint, lifted it, and sent it in to me. Happened all the time. And they're trained not to do that. Now, take someone who's not even trained to be careful with evidence, and they're going to be even less careful.
Yeah, but I would just think it's common sense 101. Like, you have this girl who was just found deceased in the back of her car, and here you are putting your hands all over everything.
This is someone that deliberately went diving, into a crime scene, found stuff, and instead of leaving it there, brought it out of the water, and then introduced himself to the family of the deceased person, and is recording the whole thing to go on to YouTube. I don't think common sense has been near this person in quite a while.
Okay, and hold on one second. All right, it doesn't show it, guys, but Bob Ross breath mints are happy trees. There they are. Hold on.
There's Bob Ross breath mints.
Yeah, that's the picture that they showed. That's what was in her thing. People were saying
yeah, I
maybe
saw
it
a
was
little
drugs.
tin.
Yeah,
Couldn't tell what it was.
that's what hers looked like. All right.
Okay.
So just to prove that, I'll go back a minute. See? It's the happy trees.
It's cute.
I don't know what that is.
Take care of your breath accidents.
Yeah.
It's
So he's just keeps putting his fingerprints all over it.
Hey, David.
Oh, you did select it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's yours to give.
May I touch this?
Yep.
Yeah, you can touch it.
Wait, who just asked if they could touch something?
The grandfather. The girl who was found deceased, her grandfather. And the cop is there with him, and the cop's like, yeah, go right ahead, because it's already been contaminated. It's pointless. At this point, it doesn't even matter.
I mean, it's not entirely true, right? So it's getting worse and worse and worse with every
Contact.
Contact, right? So if someone were to, if there was still evidence on it, right? Let's say it's right in the dead center of the laptop, right? It's invisible, but there's something there. And you hand it off to somebody else, they don't touch right in the dead center, they touch on the side.
Okay.
So this guy is doing a good job of holding it by the sides. Like, that's how you're supposed to handle this kind of stuff. You're supposed to have gloves on too, but even with gloves on, you don't want to touch where the latent prints are, because even your gloved hand can rub that off. So you handle it like this on the edges and the corners, where there's probably not going to be a good print anyway. So you're not risking destroying anything by touching it.
Even though it was underwater for 2 weeks?
And again, it's a long shot kind of thing, but if 4 or 5 other people handle it and they all put their prints on it, as long as no one disturbs that one in the middle, then it still could theoretically be processed and that print recovered. Now, you take that print instead of right in the middle from whoever it's left there by someone who's relevant to the investigation. It's left on the edge. Well, now as you're touching it, it's kind of like this. I mean, imagine drawing a little black circle right where this theoretical print would be, and as it's passed around, it's just this kind of roulette wheel of, are they going to touch right on top of that invisible circle and destroy the print underneath? The more that it gets passed around, the more that it's handled, the more likely it is that the print's going to be affected.
All right. And by the way, guys, her phone has not been found. I know that it's been a topic and people keep arguing, was her phone found? Did he find? The phone has never been found. Nobody has the phone.
Hey, it might still be in the bottom of that lake underneath all the silt.
Could be.
It's a lot of dirt in a tiny phone.
Now, why wouldn't, this is what I'm confused on too. Why wouldn't the cop bag it and take it? Because it's been contaminated? Like, that's what I don't understand. He's sitting there watching this. Take it. It's evidence. It could be potential evidence. Why wouldn't a cop take it?
Well, so first I'd ask if this particular officer is related, how he's related to the case. Right? Is he the lead detective on this investigation?
Here's my guess. We don't know exactly who he is, but here's my guess. Right. The grandfather said, maybe called them and said, some guy is calling me, telling me that he's got her evidence. Can you come meet me? And make sure that, he wasn't going to get killed, or, it wasn't a murder or something like that.
Right, because if someone that went down to the bottom of the lake and pulled all this stuff out sounds like a psychopath.
Exactly.
Right?
or the guilty one.
You don't want to go meet this guy in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
By yourself.
That's exactly right.
They may have just sent the guy that was, the officer that was just happened to be closest. Mm-hmm. Right. So he may not have any relationship to this case and no knowledge about the investigation at all. And as far as he knows, he's got to some degree trust that the people in charge of the investigation collected all the relevant evidence that they wanted to collect, and that this is simply returning lost property to the rightful owners now. So that may be, I mean, I don't know for sure, obviously, but that may be what's going through his mind, and as to why he's not, rolling out with paper bags to bag this all up.
Okay. And now it gets worse.
Are you sure?
Where'd you go? Yeah, this is her laptop. Duffel bag. You want to have a bag put it in? I have paper bags. I can go collect them.
So there's a
Like he's like he
this
doesn't
bag
even know
was
what
empty,
to do.
David. I just want to let you know, but I did put everything I recovered. There's a lot more down there. Okay, the sun is not helping me. Like I told the officer, my only concern was, 2 hours I didn't touch it. I didn't go in, and then I finally decided I'm gonna go in because nobody was coming, and I wanted to get it. But my concern is, I hope that you're here when the recovery team comes, so that you let them know how much this means to you in case they find something else.
Good idea.
Yeah, if you want to sit down, I'll go grab some paper bags to collect the items. Okay.
And so there's other stuff in there, David, as well. There's
Can you get it?
Yeah, I do.
Another one, please.
This is why we do it, guys. At CrookedTV, we try to help families out as much as possible. Yeah, there is.
Like, what do you think's down there?
I recorded a video. I put my phone down there. I'm surprised it's still working. There's a bunch of cards. There's a package. There that I pulled out. There's a hairbrush as well. Handfuls of glass, broken glass everywhere. I tried bringing some of it as much as I could out. Scouted that whole area. My viewers said, you might as well just check that area because did you find any broken glass? And I did, but my intent, if you watch my YouTube channel on CrookedTV, one thing I've been doing is I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I would want everybody to be out looking for them. So every waking moment I've been thinking about this. I've been looking for Kiely.
Can you show me where it came out down here?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I decided to come out here because I figured...
Where are you from?
I live here in Truckee.
Thanks, Juan.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I'll give you my address. I'll let you know exactly where I live. But what I did is I started paddleboarding right where they pulled the car out. What I did is I measured 70 feet, 65, 70 feet. I have a tape measure, and I went all the way out and kind of just came back, kind of scouted the area, kept scouting the area, and within about...
Once again, how did law enforcement miss it again?
I don't know. I documented it. So just to let you know, I did go out my 65, 70 feet minus whatever this length is. And I found it about halfway, a little bit less than halfway. So it's about, I'll throw a stone so you could see where I found it. Here's where all the items are. Maybe 8 feet more.
Who's going to retrieve the rest? Are these guys going to do it?
Nobody wanted to come out. I called Placer County, redundant loops. I got frustrated after 20 minutes. I ended up calling Truckee PD.
they said, I'm sorry, all our detectives are in training. This is not our case.
They told me to call back tomorrow.
So then,
Our detective did call.
Oh, he did call back?
Yeah, I just didn't tell you that.
so then after that, I decided, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go down there. Nobody cares. That's my feeling. I'm sure they care, David. But my feeling was, I'm very passionate about trying to.
Do you find this strange?
This is bizarre.
Right?
Like Ali wrote, you know, telling this guy who just lost his granddaughter about his YouTube channel.
Exactly.
Just, like, come on.
So do you still think he's just a dumbass and not possibly guilty of something?
Oh, what's that phrase? Don't blame maliciousness when incompetence will is enough to answer the question. That's probably not the right way to phrase that, but something along those lines. I mean, who knows? I don't know, but my money would be on that he's just a dumbass.
It's just a dumbass. All right. Hold on.
I mean, if okay, let's I mean, there's lots of ways you can take this, right? So let's go full in on, the police did everything that they were supposed to.
Okay.
They pulled the car out, they looked around, and you pull that car out and you can't, I mean, the visibility goes from, you could see a few feet to nothing, right? Because it's pulling up all that silt. So now you can see nothing down there. They look around, they try to find some more stuff. They don't find all the stuff that fell out. So they collect all the evidence that they have. They have no reason to think that, all this stuff fell out through the window. So they pack it up and send Von in. And then they get a call from, this nutcase that is going to go, goes back down to the crime scene looking for more. At that point, take the video, right? Leave everything in place. If you really want to help out the family, leave it there. Take your video, take the video to the family, right? Say, hey, I found all this other stuff. The water had a chance over however long the time was to clear and to settle out. Take the video back and say, show the police. They don't listen, show the family, see where it goes. Take the video to your YouTube channel and say, hey, I found all this other stuff, but I left it there and I didn't touch it just in case it is still, it can still be useful to the investigation.
Yep. And even the brush, that he puts the brush on it. Why would you put the brush separate from the bag? Why not just put everything in the bag together and let the cops take he had some things here and then you saw the brush was over there. Like, I'm like, this is too weird. That it's just not normal. Even a dumbass wouldn't think like that. I don't know. It just seemed even weirder to me than I thought to begin with.
No, I mean, I think it's just going to be hard to, put yourself in the mind of someone who's going to go actually out to, not just to a crime scene to be like a looky-loo, but to dive down, or out 60 some odd feet or, down however far and pull all this stuff up. After you get to a person who is that different, to go through all those steps, who knows how to explain how they're going to bring everything up and stack it up in the back of their truck.
Okay. It's the whole thing was weird.
I completely agree with that.
It is. It's too strange. It really is. It's just too weird. I got to pick up my son in a few minutes, but there was one more thing I wanted to ask you. What was it? Shit, what was it? There was one more question I had.
Let's see. Related to any of the other evidence items there?
Oh, man. Oh, all right. I remember what I was going to say. It wasn't
Okay.
for you. I apologize. All right. So I looked up, guys, I looked up the call log, and you guys are right. There's no evidence that he called, but there is a call log that somebody called for him, because the actual call log says RP reports male subject live streaming on YouTube from CrookedTV is asking people to call NCSO for him, and says he is on a paddleboard with a camera underwater, and he says he found items belonging to underwater victim. RP grandfather of VI called in regarding found items. He does not know where they are located. A friend of victim called in and says she is out with a male subject that found belongings. So, oh, blue tarp. What blue tarp fueled? Which blue tarp? Yeah, he never called. So I apologize for giving you guys. I knew somebody called. And that was on September 7th. He was on a live. Yeah, he was on a live. Ask people to call. He never called.
Hey, so for Beyond the Badge, that's part of it, right? Of sometimes crime happens in a jurisdiction where people just don't have the level of experience in what to collect and how to collect it, and the experience in investigating homicides can be a thing that's uncommon in an area, but investigating a homicide that involves underwater evidence is even more rare. And when you get down to situations like that are less common, with people that don't have as much experience with it, then there's a possibility that they miss things, or they just don't have the training to go through it all. So,
all right,
that's I mean, I don't know that for sure for this agency, but that's a possibility that that happens. That happens in different jurisdictions all over.
And the last question I have, and then guys, I am sorry, I got to cut this. So I got to go get Phoenix. The blue. All right. So as they were pulling her out of water, it was live broadcast, like major news stations, and they had put a blue tarp over the whole back so nobody could see her in the back.
Right.
Would that have killed any fingerprints that would have been left? If they could have even gotten a fingerprint with, like, from the back of somebody, like, pushed the car in, would all that be eliminated with that blue tarp being tightly wrapped around the back?
It's one of these things that's a balancing act, right? So, the putting a blue tarp around the back, may have been to try to, protect certain evidence that's in there, or to block the cameras from seeing, the person's body in the back of the car. I'm not quite sure why they attached the blue tarp there, but most of the time when there is, when you go through a crime scene and collect evidence, it involves a choice, because whatever action you sends you down a path to potentially collect evidence from, say, fingerprints, but now you no longer have the ability to collect other evidence from that same place.
Okay.
So that's why typically, like at a crime scene, they start out on the outside, they're taking their pictures, they're looking for evidence, and they're moving closer and closer to the center. You don't want to just go barreling right into the middle to right where the actual crime took place, but you could potentially be destroying evidence on your way just walking there.
Okay.
It's when you make a choice to process for this type of evidence, or to cover up the back of the car with the blue tarp, it is, yes, there is potential for disrupting some evidence, but you have to weigh that against the reason why you're taking this step. And and that's just the nature of dealing with a crime scene, is trying to find
trying to make the choices as you step through the scene that will lead you to the most probative evidence.
Okay.
Oh, and look at the cute pupper.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, sure thing.
I'm
glad to chat with some people again.
I will. Why, you're not chatting with people lately?
Well, I mean, I know I do that all day, but I meant about this type of stuff. It's been a while since we did on our podcast a true crime related case.
You are more than welcome to come on anytime. I've told you guys this before. Anytime.
Well, if you find any other instances where you have fingerprints as evidence, let us know, and we'll see if we're free to join in.
Or lack of fingerprints as evidence.
Or lack of fingerprints. One thing that just want to mention, a fairly recent episode we had on our podcast for all your viewers out here was on a case out of Boston where someone was erroneously convicted based on a mistake in fingerprint comparisons. Let's bring up my website here real quick. It's called the Stephen Cowens case. So our website, doubleloopodcast.com, is just a couple episodes ago.
It's Double Loop Podcast?
Yep, doubleloopodcast.com.
Yeah. Let me drop the link.
Oh, thank you. And it's a case I don't think a lot of people are aware of or have heard about in the true crime field. But it's a really interesting story and about how fingerprint evidence
you can support
put the wrong guy in jail, and then also after another different examiner went back and looked at things, found the mistake, and the fingerprint evidence also helped get him out of jail.
Wait, did you change it to Ray Forensics?
So that's my website for my company. But we moved all of the podcast stuff to specifically this one, doubleloopodcast.com.
Oh, why am I not finding it?
Here, I'll add it to the chat if I can figure out how to do that.
I see Double Loop Pod. Oh, because it's not on YouTube. I'm looking on YouTube.
Oh, no, not on YouTube. Just the actual website.
Okay. But you still have stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. So that's the Ray Forensics is
Okay.
is the YouTube channel with some stuff there. But we generally don't put all of our podcast episodes on the YouTube channel. Sometimes we'll go through the actual comparison. I think that one is for our Patreon members only. We actually step through the comparison, explaining where they went wrong and how they identified the correct person in that case. But anyway, we break down the evidence that's available and what went wrong in the case. And if you've never heard of the Stephen Cowens case from Boston, just another one of the many true crime stories out there.
Hold on. Where'd you put? Oh, it's doubleloopodcast.com.
Yes. So, sorry, I thought you found it, so I didn't type it in. Let me.
Oh no! All right, hold on.
Where do I?
It's Double Loop. I'm gonna get it right now. Hold on. You can find older episodes on Facebook under Ray Forensics, but the podcast in detail. No, that's not right.
Yeah, well, let me type into the chat.
What is it? Doubleloop.com.
Yeah, so double loop and then podcast. So there's two P's there. Double Loop Podcast.
There we go. Okay. Oh. All right. There you go. Posted. Just remember, doubleloopodcast.com.
Yep. So Bree McGee double loop. That's yeah. Just and just even just searching Google, it's pretty easy to find. We're on all the main podcast apps, iTunes, Stitcher, etc.
He thinks that's how we met, Mind Over Matter. He believes Stephen Avery is guilty. That is how we met. They did a podcast. I said, I listened to this podcast, and they couldn't be further from the truth. And that's how we met many, many years ago.
Yep. So that was exactly. I think we posted some stuff on Reddit. That's what you found. Probably how you found it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we haven't talked about that in years now.
I know.
But that's a whole nother ball of wax
I was like,
to get into.
These guys are forensics. They're experts. How do they not know that he's not guilty? I was like, he's innocent. And that's how our friendship started. That was it. But I do got to go, and I have to go get Phoenix.
Yep.
Oh, you're with him? Avery's guilty? Yeah, we got to bring him and Glenn back, and we can argue all day. Because, yeah, the Avery
I'll
is
have to
not
refresh.
guilty.
I think I forgot most of the stuff in that case.
Just remember not guilty, and you're good. That's all. As long as you remember not guilty.
Well, I am disappointed that that was it Brendan, the nephew didn't get released. I was rooting for him to be released because that was messed up what they did to him.
Because you can't convict one without the other. You can't say Brandon is innocent but convict Stephen because Brandon is the reason Stephen was convicted.
Well, you could release Brendan because the cops didn't the cops railroaded him in the interview. Whether or not he actually participated or not, then becomes irrelevant. But again, that's a whole nother thing.
But listen to what you're saying. The cops railroaded him, but Stephen would have never been convicted without Brendan's testimony. So if the cops railroaded Stephen, if you believe the cops railroaded Brendan, then you have to believe that they railroaded Brendan to give a false confession on Stephen. You can't have one without the other.
Lex Luthor's question there, the Double Loop podcast name. So a double loop is a type of fingerprint pattern. And there's two of us, myself and Glenn, that host the show. So, double loop. That's kind of where the name of the podcast came from.
There you go. Brendan was incompetent regardless and railroaded. And because he was railroaded, he gave a whole different story about Stephen. And the one thing, and then I'm going to end it because Phoenix is going to kill me. But let me say this. Stephen and Brendan, and for all you that think he's guilty, keep this in mind. Stephen and Brendan allegedly killed the same person at the same time. So logically tell me how two people can be convicted of the same crime at the same time in two completely different places, in two completely different circumstances. When someone can answer that, because that's what happened. So if someone can answer that, I'm all for it. But nobody's been able to answer that. But Ken Kratz gave two completely different scenarios of how this girl was murdered. But allegedly, they did it together at the same time. But yet, they were killed in different places. They were killed with different scenarios. They were killed in different, different everything. But yet, they were both convicted of the exact same crime at the exact same time of the exact same girl. Make that make sense.
And then in our show, we kind of discounted everything that Kratz said as just a whole bunch of crap because Kratz is just a whole bunch of crap. So we just kind of discounted everything that he said and then focused our attention of what what we know is on the evidence and what is the evidence saying, not what all the lawyers are saying or anything else. So
planted evidence. Evidence can be whatever you want it to be if it's planted.
And we didn't see any evidence of planted evidence.
All right, we're gonna go a few
rounds.
rounds.
You go get your kid, and we'll talk later. But thank you
so much for coming up.
And happy to join the show.
Absolutely, I will speak to you soon.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you, Eric. Bye. So again, sorry guys, I gotta leave. I gotta go get Phoenix, and then I'm going to get a good night's sleep. And we'll do TTT tomorrow. Some of TTT with Xanamay is on my live from yesterday, so you can watch some of it. The good stuff was out there. I don't know who's going live, but I gotta go pick up Phoenix. I hope you guys enjoyed Eric. Him and Glenn together are a trip. Like I said, you guys just heard how we all met. And yeah, I was like diehard, like, who are these idiots? Blah, blah, blah. Really, really good guys. So very intelligent as well. So, all right, I will see you guys later. I got to go get Phoenix. I'm getting a good night's sleep, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.